that work? Did that work? It worked. I think it worked. All right, it worked. Hi, everybody. It's a laid back morning show. Don't get too upset. I will have a built out section later on. I've got to do a little bit of graphicing, but this is pretty much just straight up. It's almost just think of it as a Monday morning Zoom call with me. There's just almost nothing. It's just bare bones right now. Um, but quit it. There is to sound. You are getting sound. Quit it, you silly person. You're muted. It is not me. Uh, so, hello. Muscles are money. Well, I was just at the gym because the timing is, it's so weird being on East Coast time and coming back. Quit it. There is to sound. You can hear me, right? Okay. 'Cause I don't know what. That's the one thing I did work on. I have figured out over time a way to, you know, get those primary needs met, which is sound and video. Sound being first, video being second, quality wise, and then eventually, then clips and being able to play stuff back for you and all that kind of stuff. And I think, the biggest piece of news right now. Let's see if I can bring this up. No, is it this guy right here? Yeah. Besides, hi chat room. Hello, there you are. What's happening, lovely people? Good to see you. Clothes are definitely third. There's definitely it's a clothing optional stream in that regard, or it will be at some point. Yes, I did do a soft transition instead of I did make minor changes. If I can't fix everything I want to fix right now, like framing myself and all that stuff, at the very least, I can make it a little more palatable. Palatable. Yeah, I said it. Palatable. um, and then. And let's see, quit it. Thank you guys for subbing. Thank you for joining us today. I'm sorry if some of you are dealing with the trauma of Ben Shapiro burning Barbies. I don't even know how he's going to live without his Barbies. That's the question. He had a lot of them laying around. That's very strange. Yes. So yes, Twitter is an X now. We will get to that. And 54. Are we almost at 54K? Oh, we got to 54K. See, we're growing day by day. I'm just saying. I feel like we're catching some of the bailouts of a bunch of other channels where people are finally realizing that they've been BS'd so much over time by a lot of these channels that eventually they're like, uh, whatever problems I've had with good old Hal Sparks in the past, at least he wasn't bullshitting me. At the very least. At the very least. So I will maintain that as best I can. And hi chat room. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a bunch of those refugees around. Yeah, the Ben Shapiro tantrum was particularly hilarious. I think that video is 43 minutes long. You're gonna spend 43 minutes complaining about the movie Barbie? Are you nuts? And that it's apparently uh, I guess, well, I mean, it's hard to dig out what the thing is, that it's very woman centered and feminist in its messaging. Yeah, it's fucking Barbie. I mean, I don't even know how to. You can you imagine the panic attack when they started getting like career outfits? Like, all right, I was fine with a couple of bikinis and maybe a princess gown, but what the fuck is this doctor nonsense? Like those kind of things. Eyes look glassy. They do. Well, they're not. I don't know what to tell you. Although I will say it's more humid here. Perhaps there's just water in my eyes because there's actually water in the air. I will say that I'm here in Kentucky and it's the environment is very distinct from Vegas. Yeah, the movie's not called Ken exactly. Um, we hit the 666 people and we blazed right by that. So if you're with us up to this point or you're just joining us, please help out by doing a $666 super chat or a $6.60 super chat or a $66.60 super chat. Whatever derivation you want to just help us buy 666 Fifth Avenue as we continue to seize the internet. This is Is there an opposite of a hostile takeover? It's a positive takeover of it. It doesn't quite. We'll figure it out. I'm doing an opposite, whatever the opposite of a hostile takeover is. That's what I'm doing with the internet. I've decided. But yeah, a passive takeover? No, it's not passive. Definitely not. It's got to be an active thing. So it's just not rude. Yeah, the Saudis own 6. Well, I think I'll be able to buy it back from them because they're going to need the money before too long. So a stealth takeover? That's not bad. I like the sound of that. A stealth takeover of the internet? Sure. Okay, couple things. Let me, first of all, people are freaking out about Twitter just turning into nonsense. I guess this is just silly. X-rated, welcome to X. Shitter, which I thought was really good, like, or Sheeter, depending on if you pronounce it like Xi Jinping. Red Dawn, Netanyahu, Meta, because everybody's like, well, I guess that cements it as the new thing. New Coke, rip Twitter. Greta Thunberg, because she's not being charged with, disruption or something in one of the Twitter X, X-Men, Cicada, Xbox TM, and whatever, and that's promoted. So I can't Social Security and Medicare, because I guess Trump is now defending Social Security and Medicare, which is hilarious. Yeah. Said he would cut Social Security and Medicare if he wins in 2024. Under Joe Biden, the economy is growing. Also, didn't he just say he was like, wasn't he just attacking Ron DeSanctimonious? We will be cutting. Hold on, let me see what this is. Hold on.
If you don't cut something in entitlements, you'll never really deal with the
we'll be cutting, but we're also going to have growth like you've never had before.
If you don't...
we'll be cutting. We're just going to have growth, magic growth. I'm going to have a growth on, yeah. So I guess his whole attack plan is dead on Ron DeSanctimonious now. Also, the X up here in the corner, that just looks lame. It's X now? I mean, okay, first of all, just so you know, he's launching XAI, and I think the idea is that he's somehow going to brand across all things with XAI on this. Yeah. So welcome to X. Ugh. X is the future state of unlimited Cheech and Chong gummy ads. I see there people are making it. Twitter's now officially X. The logo's been changed. There's a lot of people outraged over this for absolutely no reason. Nothing changes. You can still use the app the same way you could. Yeah, but it's just stupid. It isn't. Yeah, we know it's not. We know materially it's no different. As a matter of fact, that's kind of what makes it dumb. And by the way, are we now tweeting, or are we Xing now? Or what? Is busy saying welcome to X. Meanwhile, about 2,000 penguins watch up dead on Uruguay's coast. Please go What? What does that have to do with anything? Welcome to X. So many stupid libtards whining about it. All right, I don't think anybody's whining about it. I just think they think it looks stupid. And the new head of X, formerly Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter, had basically said it's going to be a place for commerce and blah, blah. He's trying to turn it into WeChat. Let's just be abundantly clear. He's and making it an X like Xi Jinping is a little stupid. Again, yawn. I remember when he tried to turn PayPal into X years ago. Yeah, he's just always wanting to call stuff X. Yeah, because he wants to own the, like, it's the kind of thing you see when somebody adds an X to an energy drink or a vehicle, like a sports car. It's just like nerd. It's a nerd ball swap out. It's so dumb. Tweets are notXists. I enjoyed the X-Files as well. I'm glad the X-Files is trending. We can at least be happy about that, I suppose. It's just goofy. Like, honestly, you might as well just name it Parler or Getter or something at this point. I don't know. And how many people are like, hey, are you on X? Like, what are you talking about? It sounds like you mean ecstasy. And Do you still use X? Do you still like? How is this? How has anybody thought this through? Oh, SpaceX, yeah, it's trying to incorporate. So what is it? Tesla going to become Teslex, which sounds like a laxative. Teslax, that's what it's going to be. He's going to, yeah, right? Who's? Are you still using Twitter? You mean X? Like it's going to be it. That's just dumb. Yeah. Yes, the security on X is lax. We do know that. Yes, but we do appreciate. Hopefully, it draws attention to King's X today. Yeah, X marks the rot. Calling something X makes it edgy. Yeah, that's exactly it. Ugh. How Sparks X. Yeah, I'm just gonna change the KS in the end of my name to an X. X social. Ugh. It's just so it's just so weak. I don't get like why in the world who thought this was a good idea? At least like in the with SpaceX, like it's you're 10xing space travel. That's the theory. Okay. Tesla is named after Nikola Tesla, which is him just borrowing the legend of an intellect. But I don't know how this applies to social media. Honest to God. Does anybody? Like it's yeah. I don't understand the sort of Texas right. He's putting the X in Texas. I think we should just play the let's put the X in sex Kiss video all day long. Like everybody should just post the shit out of that song. It is my least favorite Kiss song, and yet of all, if anything, could point out the weird switch to this name and how it makes no sense. That would be that. He's losing, so he might as well lose with a bang. Yeah, but again, what? It just furthers the conspiracy theory that he was going to wreck the whole thing from the start. It was never meant to make it work. Right? It's the shakes. Where and when did... sorry, whoops. I look over at the chat and it goes, brow. Elmo didn't name Tesla. The car company named it... yeah, that's true. That is true. His master... didn't Mr. X name one of his kids after the math... Well, yeah. He should explain himself. It's just weak. And again, I don't think anybody's upset about it. So I'm like, oh my God, the libtards are blah, blah, blah. Like, I honestly just feels kind of stupid. Let's see, among the top reasons, again, this, I don't know, this seems to be the big thing. Like, welcome to X. Here's your biggie. Well, you can whine about it, but there's nothing you can do. Where trends come alive? Okay, so they've basically, he's got bots on here just selling it, pushing the welcome to X thing. That's to make it trend. That's why you see all these like hella randos in here just saying that. Who does that? Like, welcome to X. X-rated dark web Twitter, yeah. Yeah. It's like where Dogecoin goes to die. Welcome to X, the only social media company to limit its users' ability to read or post social media. Whoop, whoop, right. Like a scared straight video. I gotta say, it's gotta be, I mean, how do you still, I don't want to use it anymore. Is that the point? Is he trying to is this basically like, originally we thought, oh, he's here to kill Twitter. Is he really just here to kill Truth Social? Because what's the jump ball here? That's so odd. Anyways, hi, welcome. It's the morning show. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, whatever. We're looking around at the trendages today and sort of the morning news stories. And since it's very much a social media Monday in that regard, let me see if I can transition this over, and I'm just here in Kentucky for family reasons. Not all of them the greatest, but we're able to at least hang out with my dad and my mom and my stepmom, and everybody's having a big old time around their grandson. So that's a plus regarding our visit here, even as much as we've got a funeral this weekend, and another relative who's just hanging in there. So we're back east. Well, we're in the Middle East. We're in that part of Kentucky, anyways. So that's okay. Don't worry about it, guys. It's part of life. McConnell, I'm not going to visit him while we're here. We're not making our way down to Frankfurt anytime soon. I have no interest. We're here for bad enough reasons. We don't need to add that. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. To the left of these, that's right, exactly. Thanks, guys. So, but normal shows as best I can. The morning shows this week, Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday will be a normal morning show. Today I'm just doing an hour, and then I will do the afternoon show at the regular time, which will be 6 o'clock Eastern time. And tomorrow, I believe this is the same, depending, because interestingly enough, it falls around dinner time here. So that, shifts everybody's stuff around. So I'm trying to, like we're either eating early or eating late, depending on how that works out. So I either can start early and then finish at, dead on, and then we eat at 7, which is fine. Or I can swap it out, that we can eat before I do my show, and then I can just kind of do whatever. But yeah, that's just what I'm dealing with this week. So if it gets a little malleable at times, apologies, but this is the closest thing to a vacation that I actually get, and it's in the midst of, we've got a wake to go to and stuff like that. So anyways, much love. And also, I'm not obviously doing Flappers this Wednesday because of this. So they know, I think, already. So, but all's well. Anyways, in that regard, there you go. So, yep, there's 1,000 people in the chat already, which I appreciate. Thank you very much and welcome. And we are doing, I did say malleable. It's true, Mrs. Wiggins. Mrs. Wiggins, will you get to in here right now? Yes, flexibility on a week like this. I'll give you your clips ready. Thanks. I appreciate that, CSL. Yeah, we'll be moving stuff around, hopefully. And by the way, mic sounds okay. It's not too boomy in here where I am because I'm using just the standard mic on the laptop. So hopefully it works out. And yeah, that's all the business I'm doing right now. Meanwhile, I pointed this out earlier. I've showed this on my chat. Let me find, where is my, I couldn't find my thing. It's so funny to me. We've talked about this a bunch, where, I'll switch over here. There's this thing in the economic circles right now that I don't know why this has been so persistent. I don't know what the hell's going on. Hold on one second. I don't have a switcher. So this is from Bloomberg today, or whatever. Let's see. Housing market rebound poses challenge for Fed's inflation fight is such a perfect headline for how the econ world cannot understand post-COVID reality and sort of their odd refusal to incorporate into their measurements of the economic realities we're in right now. Like COVID never happened. We're just going to pretend that all the ancillary fall-on impacts of it, both in the supply chain and monetary policy and all that kind of stuff, that it just magically didn't happen, and that every time they talk about recessions or every time they talk about economic issues that we're facing right now, I don't know what it is, but it's impossible for them to fact that we just went through this enormous thing, that millions of people who were here are not here anymore, that companies and countries are changing their entire policy towards how they ship things, how they made things, where they made them. Mexico just surpassed China as our main import partner. China is now behind Canada as America's import partners, behind Canada. They're third on the list. And they were by far number one. So the idea that shift alone by itself would be an enormous frigging news story if COVID hadn't happened. But because COVID happened, everybody's kind of like, well, of course that, but they just kind of move on from the idea, right? They just move on from the fact that they're no longer our number one trading partner, period. And that Mexico is. And by the way, I wrote the other day on Threads, if you follow me on there, if you don't, you should. I wrote the other day on Threads that Spanish is the new Mandarin. And I mean it. Like, business-wise, that's a reality. And so it occurred to me in talking about this stuff that if you were trying to help a particular country, if you were trying to do, a number on one country and help out another, if you were an agent of a foreign power, and let's say that country was China, and you were looking at how they are being negatively impacted right now. Obviously, Mexico taking that massive leap forward as far as being our import partner would be a negative if you're working on behalf of China. So one of the things you would want to do if you were trying to help China at the expense of America is you would want to close the southern border. Because it's not all fentanyl and illegal immigration. The border, if they're a primary trade partner, which they are, the amount of goods shipped across that border is enormous. And if we close the border entirely, Texas dies as a state. That's another conversation for another time. But even still, if you're trying to help China, one of the things you would want done immediately is slow down any kind of imports or movement across the southern border, period. You want everything checked and double checked. You would want everything to be tamped down. Yeah. And so when I see all the right-wingers, clamoring, it just occurred to me, especially with that change, that if you want to benefit any country in particular, besides this faux belief, I guess, that they're stopping an invasion at the southern border, that's the story they're telling. But in reality, the country you're helping and you're buying some time for would be China, which I find fascinating as a thought right now. So I'm floating that out there, and I don't think that anybody else is. Allison says her oldest son is 29 today, and she's feeling really ill. Well, first of all, happy birthday to your son, Allison, and that's awesome. My kid is 12, and I can't wait to meet him when he's 29 years old. I think he'll be an extraordinary man, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm not in a hurry, as I'm sure you understand, but I do look forward to it. After Hal spoke about the stick with Jonathan Winters, it showed up in my feed. It was hilarious. Just your phone is listening, apparently. China is dying. We can't face the real truth of it. WW, you're absolutely right. And it's an enormous thing. Hold on, let me bring up the chat again so I can talk to you guys directly. It is there are enormous changes going on there now. It's brutal. The 22 to 26% youth unemployment, when you think of the demographic change that China is going through right now, is that their workers are aging out of factory work, aging out of production and into retirement or managerial life or what have you. And you would normally, in a society that's healthy, replace those older workers with younger workers at a 1-to-1, or at least maybe a slight contraction or an expansion in some cases, like India, or to some degree the United States, because we can always bring in new people because we're not a racially homogenous country. China is, and they have a very distinct problem. They're running out of young people to work in these jobs. And even with that, even though they have far more jobs than they have young people, They also either the young people don't want to work there or cannot or are unqualified or live in the wrong area for it. They live, if there's a factory zone, they live in the administrative zone. If they live, if there's an administrative job, they live in the factory zone. Those kind of things that for as qualifications go, or what their parents want them to take, because they don't want their son has to have a house to have a wife, and if he doesn't have a job that will get him a house, and the factory jobs won't, then it's better to hold out and live with the parents, and the parents pay for the house, and then he can have a wife so that they can, it's a conundrum, and it's not going anywhere soon. It's bad. Do you think there'll be a heavens mandate in China anytime soon? I don't know, because I feel like because of the CCP's atheistic policies, I think they have beaten that out of anybody who would be in a position of power a long time ago. So, no. I mean, if their society was healthy and functioning, and if, quite frankly, if they were anywhere close to the Chinese society that's existing in Taiwan right now, absolutely. But do you think the commercial markets are being vulnerable to cause a similar housing bubble like '08? No, I do not. No. There's not enough. There's not enough crazy expansion to create a bubble right now in that regard. The funny part is that they just don't know why stocks keep going up. It's like, and it's because there are two ways for foreign people with money, especially who are in a desperate situation, to save and protect their money. One is in U.S. currency, and the other is in U.S. stocks, and they know it. So even if U.S. consumers sell some of their stocks or what have you, there's always somebody there to scoop it up, because as difficult as our, as business could be post-COVID, as difficult as the economic picture might be, or as nervous as people are, which they increasingly aren't, which we'll get to that in a minute, because the biggest problem the Republicans have next year is that the dissatisfaction quotient is going to be in the shitter, and they won't be able to use it. So no matter how much we might worry about it, I'm worried about the stock market, I might pull some money out, or blah blah blah, or my 401k, or I talk to my whoever runs our pension scheme or whatever. We want to pull stuff back, whatever. The second you do in the United States, everyone else in the world with any money buys it up, and the price doesn't go down. It's kept it afloat, and it will continue to do so, because while we have had the same difficulties everybody had post-COVID, our recovery has been rock solid comparatively. And everywhere else, though, is their economies are just deflating like crazy. So if you have any means and you have the wherewithal to have this money that I will use to eat, this money that I want to save so I can eat in the future, you're not going to keep it in your own country if everything's going to shit around you. Look at Turkey, look at Africa, look at South Africa especially, look at Russia, look at China. You're going to find some way to get this money out of your country and get it into something solid. And there are only three places really to park it: the euro, the US dollar, and our stock market. That's it. Look at the Brits, for crying out loud. They're putting tons of money into the U.S. stock market because it's the only way they can make money, because Brexit undermined their economic security. It's crazy. And it's not crazy because it makes total sense. The crazy part is how badly the rest of the world is doing. Is it a Motel 8? No, it is not. So yeah, China, like Russia, is falling apart. Yeah, well, they're both doing it for different reasons. They both have the same essential problems, demographic and economic, and they don't produce anything on their own worth a damn. China at least had the factory base to produce consumer goods, and in theory, they could fire that back up again. They're not going to, because everybody's bugging out. And since they spend so much of their time stealing everybody's tech, there were two. They dug two graves for themselves. The first one being is that they made their relationships with every tech company in the world has gone in the toilet because nobody trusts them with the good stuff anymore. You might build your second and third tier stuff there, but you're not going to bring over your best chips and your best programmers and your best designers, because that stuff's they're gonna rip it off. They're gonna steal it. You're gonna go to Taiwan where you have the same quality of workers. They're Chinese too. It's not like it's a racial thing. It's a cultural thing. The culture of Taiwan is one that's very similar to everybody else in the rest of the world. And so internal to China, they're just going to steal your shit. And the second one, and I think, I mean, it's debatable whether this is the worst one, but they didn't innovate themselves because they stole everybody's technology. They didn't develop the ability to build on it. Never mind the fact that, let me tell you, everybody's worried about AI right now. We normally talk about AI on Fridays, and everybody's got these concerns about, oh my God, the Chinese, what if they get an AI and they blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's not the Chinese you have to worry about. If you're going to worry about an AI getting loose and wrecking the world, it's going to be Russian or Saudi at this point. More than likely it will be Russian. But even still, their brain drain kept it from growing, past a certain point. All the people who could grow an AI beyond a certain point, parents' phone, they'll get that in a moment. All right. Yep. My dad has, hold on. They're leaving a message. They didn't leave a message, apparently. So, that's a landline, all right. That's what you call a dial tone for those of you that are young. So, China has those twofold problems business-wise. One, nobody trusts them to do business with them, and two, they never innovated because they honestly, well, there's a couple of reasons. In communist philosophy, specifically under Maoism, it's a Marxist ideal as well, is that you can't be blamed for the failure of something if you didn't add anything. If you just copy it one for one, it's not your fault if it fails. Does that make sense? All I did was, look, he made that. I just made a copy of it. We copied it. We built it just like he said build it. Nobody went, how about we tweak this thing and it might make it work better? If you can do that, that's how all innovation happens. But right now, in China, in the culture, under the CCP specifically, if you do that, you are to blame if it fails in the future. And everybody will track back, even if it's not the part you improved. You'll go, this guy made a change last year, and we should have still used the old one, right? That'll come back to bite you in the ass. So nobody does. Couldn't any individual programmer make a dangerous AI on their own? Not yet. At some point, perhaps, but it'll really just be a chaos agent, not one that's super smart, because it will also be countered by ones that are faster and bigger. Chinese students with major degrees cannot get work back home. That's exactly right. So because they will cause trouble. Communism tends to stifle innovation. It destroys it because it is the antithesis of innovation. Unfortunately, because the community aspect of humanity, where we work together, has a shorter ROI than people think. And you need breakouts. Otherwise, people will die of fear or comfort. Usually, it's a combination of the two. Until you basically they build walled cities until they run out of food. That's it. You effectively lay siege to your own life or your own innovation or whatever. And so, unfortunately, communism is designed on the idea that at some point you can stop. At some point you can stop innovating. We've done it already, and we haven't gotten there yet as human beings. We simply haven't. We might at some point, and effectively that's what sort of like Star Trek is about. I mean, you could argue that Star Trek is once you have a device that can atomically recreate anything, and everybody wears the same clothes because nobody cares about fashion. It's about what's inside you that matters, and as far as your ideas and stuff, then perhaps. But as long as anything takes effort, that it won't happen. It's not like there's not going to be any form of communism that functions, because somebody is going to do the effort, and somebody else is going to take advantage of their effort, and that's the essence of interpersonal strife. Yeah. Let's see. And Khan was putting cryo freeze is true. God damn it, Hal! I'm a doctor, not a philosopher. It's true. To be fair, it was a uniform. That's true. But when they came across anything that wasn't a primitive society, they all wore the same clothes too. There's this idea that eventually humans are just going to get tired of picking outfits, and I think that's the Einstein theory. Einstein had this. And by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've Venmoed or whatever, please do that. I don't have any of the stuff up right now. So support the show, patreon.com/HalSparks, what have you. But during, Einstein had this thing where he wore the same outfit every day because he didn't want to expend any mental energy thinking about his clothes. And then whatever he was wearing Friday, he had a sweater that he would wear if it was chilly over his shirt. And that was that till Monday. And they would do laundry and that was there. But okay. So I think that's where the theory of everybody will eventually wear a uniform comes from. Yeah. Post scarcity. Yeah. Well, and also post effort. And there are areas where we're getting away from that as far as organizational stuff, the things that AI can do, but physical effort is still going to exist. There are robots that can pick, oranges off of bushes, but they can't pick stuff out of trees yet. There's an aspect of effort in how we've created our life because we've built up over time. We've designed life around our own appendages, our own fingers and thumbs and feet and our height and all that kind of stuff we're either going to have to remodify to fit robots, or the robots will have to look almost identical to us to pick up where we leave off as far as effort goes for the time being, until they, 10x their ability, and we have these little like apple picking spiders that climb up out of the trees, pick one up and just crawl back down. But how much effort are they expending doing that versus the calorie value of the apple? That's the trade-off. Right now, that trade-off is far too high. Humans expend a lot less energy doing that than a multitude of robots or what have you. I am not in a hotel. I'm at the folks' house. So, we need data, not lore. Okay. Yes. So we're in terms of AI, there's going to be a lot of things that zip ahead really fast, especially in areas where it's all typing or all in your head or all reacting to data. And that is finance, that's accounting, insurance, to some degree, the legal world. Those will be upended by this. But until somebody comes up with robots that we can interact with on the regular, I gotta say that we're just dealing with, until that point, and even still beyond that point, AI is just another UI. It is, it's effectively just another user interface. You can talk to your computer instead of typing, and you used to throw switches instead of typing. So, I only use Twitter for porn, so X fits. All right, well, good. I didn't even realize there was a big porn underground on there, I suppose. Busting out the pick square. Yes. Well, I just have. It's just the shape of this, like the space that I'm in. You know. Oh yeah. This my dad's an architect, so there's a bunch of blueprints. Uh, this is my dad's glass drafting table that he's had since I was in high school. And there was, I would say before that, when I was in elementary school, because I've slept under this while he was working. I've literally crawled, like when I was a little kid. Because I think this was in his office in Frankfurt. I used to, when I was, 8, 9 years old, I'd be at work with my dad, and there's everybody moving around. The only place where there really wasn't a lot of movement was under my dad's desk. So I would just lay on the floor, and roll my coat or a shirt up and just go to sleep. Your thoughts on Cornel West? I think he's kind of a mess, and it a lot of his pitch sounds like yeah, it sounds like flim flam. Just saying. I mean this whole like I'm a jazz man and I can work with people stuff just sounds like jargon bullshit. There's no difference between him using like the concept like jazz vernacular the same way Marianne Williamson uses spiritual vernacular to sell the exact same shit. And neither one of them knows anything. Neither one of them knows any of the stuff they would need. They think they really do. And this, I think, shows, it's not surprising. And I grew up in Kentucky. I'm here right now. It's not surprising that there is a group of people that have contempt for intellect. We see this quote, anti-elite behavior and all that stuff, and which I find lazy and stupid, frankly, myself, because I believe in striving. So the same people who say you shouldn't surround the elites in the swamp and blah 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 and talk that shit are the same people who will quote books that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're dumber than you think, because you should always surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, because that's how you grow and all that. Same shit. Same, it's antithetical to the ideas that they're spitting to other people, but to themselves, if they're talking amongst themselves and in terms of self-help books and quotes about that kind of shit, they're always going to talk about surround yourself with people who are better than you are so that you can build a team and da. And then at the rest of the time when they're talking to other people, they'll tell them like you can't trust elites and people who can outsmart you and blah blah blah. And that is, there's a contempt for intellect that's also a lie. It's one thing to have that contempt, but it's another thing entirely to BS your way through it, and you don't really have it. You just are trying to make sure that while you allegedly believe that you should always be in a room full of people who are smarter than you because they will benefit you and turn your life, they'll 10x your life and all that kind of stuff, you also believe you should be the smartest person in everyone else's room. And that the ego involved in that is staggering. And Cornel West and Marianne Williamson both have that exact attitude towards other people. And there's this odd contempt for the people who are smart have gotten into us into this mess. No, they fucking have not. The public has made its own mess over time. There is not a cabal running the world. The Illuminati aren't real. There's no even when if that was true, they wouldn't have to get together in Davos and all these other places. They wouldn't have to. It would just happen because they would automatically do it. They would know the code and it would just happen. The reason they have to get it is because they're responding to what the public wants. They're responding to what the trend in humanity is, which is always a growth trend. It's always moving towards, and to some degrees, simplifying the complex that gets increasingly complex. The Pentaveret, yes. Is your dad as handsome as you? My dad is a very handsome man. It's true. I'll see if there's a picture around that he'd approve of me showing. But some people literally can't handle the truth. That's very possible. Them damn smart people always trying to indoctrinate our children with education. Right, exactly. This is, the Khmer Rouge had a nasty habit of shooting people for their intellectual crime of wearing glasses. Yeah, that was the, you've probably seen the Ricky Gervais bit about if they're so smart, why didn't they take their glasses off when the person came by? But ultimately, again, beware of anyone who tells you that you can't trust smart people, because it's sort of the intellectual version of somebody who knows that relationship-wise they're below you, saying you can't trust people who are prettier than me. You can't trust people who are better off, stronger, more your type than I am. That's what they mean. They're just trying to corral you, and I don't buy it. You always want people to, if anything, if there's somebody who's got a smarter take than me on something, I would love to hear it so I can incorporate that into my opinion of the thing. Yeah, I'm tired of these elitist pilots who thinks I should fly this plane. That's exactly right. And that's what and undermining that is it's just lazy subterfuge. You don't want to earn your place at the table. You want to accuse someone that's at the table already of not deserving to be there. And in some cases, they don't. In some cases, there are people there. But that doesn't mean the rest of the people who got there don't deserve it. And so when you start talking about broad-based the elites or whatever, instead of just specifically like, look, this is important. Those that sit at this table make important decisions. And therefore, what the fuck is he doing here? What the fuck is she doing here is a reasonable thing, as opposed to all these people think they know so much and they don't know nothing. Like, I just grew up with that stuff, that kind of anti-elitist fervor, and it annoys me. Thanks, Medium. I'm glad you like the morning show. I enjoy doing it. And this is a little more, laid back than we normally get, because it's not quite a vacation. It's a family trip. But I'm going to, I got a little stuff that I got to tweak around before the end, before I come in this afternoon for the regular show. I do have a Discord, it is true, and Patreon people get access to another tier of it, which is really fun. So it's a coffee clutch. Yeah, there's these coffee with so-and-so shows. Although I will say that it's, because of time changes, it's an odd thing to do it at 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and it's already noon over here. But if I did it earlier to try and make it closer to that 9 o'clock spot here, it would certainly eat into. Thank you, Cindy, so much for the morning show love. I appreciate that. I got for Venmoing me. That I would eat into Steph's show, so I prefer to roll over after she's done, and it means people have to listen to it at another part of the day. I hope it's still enjoyable no matter when it comes on, because the conversation should be a little more open in that regard. That said, Twitter is dead. This is, and they've been working all morning to make this tweet. I find, okay, you want to see how blazingly full of shit Elon Musk is. Do you want to see a great example? You guys, I know you do. So this is trending. This is where the trends are, right? We see this with the trends is happening over here. Okay. Business finance trending. Welcome to X. 18,000 tweets. Right below it, trending in United States, Meta, 105,000 tweets. So obviously, the trends aren't based on the popularity of the conversation. This is not a Reddit, where they upvote stuff. He is setting the standard for what becomes trending. He's basically, I guess, sniping his own promoted tweet spot. Yeah. Because Meta's got 105,000 tweets and he's got 18.3. He's got the guitar is always good. I don't know whoever has the guitar. Hey, look, there's me. So I don't know how we're, whether the trending and the tweeting and the stuff, what that's going to turn now that this thing is Xing. Who cares? Honest to God, this is so goofy. So I don't honest to God, a good thread, a good piece of thread can overcome a black X. Well, yeah, that's true. Pelosi had 48K and was third or fourth. Ooh. Steph was hilarious this morning with her F Trump shirt. She kept the mic perfectly positioned over the U. That's right. Well, because they're on free speech TV, right? That's the issue. If I may, I'm going to jump on something real quick, and I want to bring up let's see if I can find this ridiculousness. Hold on. There you go. I want to. There we go. Where is he? Yeah. Trump is just like wigging out on Truth SoCal, Social National, and Truth uses okay, whatever. Here I'll show you. Like this is his little blather that he's been at for a bit right here. I don't know if you can read that. It looks a little blurry on there. Can you guys make out the text at all? Because it looks like crap. I don't know why. That's very strange. It's very spotty. But anyways, he goes, Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in the history of the United States. So he's been reading Bongholio's daily tweet. Like he just loves Bongholio for doing that every single day. Who's, officially the laziest right-winger on Twitter or X right now. Anyways, which is being undeniably proven in the House of Representatives every single day. I suppose he means the committee hearings, which have been an embarrassment for him and for Trump and for Comer and Jim Jordan. But with all these horrible revelations and facts, why hasn't Republican, quote, leadership in the Senate spoken up and rebuked crooked Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, fascists, and Marxists for their criminal acts against the country, some of them against me, some of them. What criminal act would that be? Does anybody know what his criminal, what Joe Biden has criminaled on Trump? Yeah. How long does America have to wait for the Senate to act? And then Warrior Angel comes in and says, Congress must put a stop to this outrageous election interference. There we go. Outrageous. It's such good stuff. Outrageous. It is readable good. Okay. They're just doing everything they can to cheat again. Bottom line, Donald J. Trump re-truthed. Now, people put this one up, and this is somehow they think it seems tough. I gotta say it looks like he's just waiting to be indicted. He looks like he's sitting outside the principal's office. He's also doing the Illuminati hand gesture. I don't know why they don't. Isn't that the one that the cabal of adrenochrome baby juice drinking crazies, the 23 Padoos do? Isn't that? Yeah. Aren't they doing the mangina? Isn't that what that's supposed to be? Nope. Okay. I guess it's okay in this painting where he looks like he's being impersonated after a burn. I don't know. It's very strange. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Yes, he's going to be indicted. He's probably going to go to jail at this point. So yeah, you're true. Outrageous. So he does this a bunch too. He goes, thank you. He retweets anybody who puts a meme up about him. And then, do you think that A.G. Garland and deranged Jack Smith understand that we are in the middle of a major political campaign for the President of the United States? You think they even know? I'm running for office. You can't pull me over, officer. I'm running for mayor. When did you decide you're running for mayor? As soon as you turned your lights on. That's the argument. You can't arrest me. I'm running for mayor. Do you have any proof that you're running for? Yes, I have. I always drive around with "Me for Mayor" signs in the trunk just in case. And I was supposed to know this how when I noticed you were breaking the law. Doesn't matter. I always run for president. That's what I do now. Have they looked at the recent poll numbers? Why didn't they bring these ridiculous charges years before? Why did they wait to bring them now? A virtually unheard of scenario. Okay, well, first of all, specifically when it comes to the document stuff, that's been playing out on the timeline that it's just stuck with. If he's talking about the January 6th insurrection stuff, I would argue that they've been slow walking it. They should have done it sooner. But if they had, he just would have gone to jail sooner. He would have been he would have announced his campaign in March of 2021. How many times can crooked Joe Biden's Department of Injustice, together with the local Democrat DAs and AGs, indict his political opponent during the course of the campaign? Do they understand the damage being done to America? It will only get worse. We must stop these monsters. I love that he puts it in quote, monsters. They're not real monsters. He wants to make sure you know that they're people who he regards as monsters. They don't actually have fangs and fur. From further destroying our country! Exclamation point. Just tremendous media censorship going on in the USA. What they don't cover is almost as bad as how dishonestly they do cover events, people, and things. Events, people, and things. What things in quotes? Why is it? Why is what? Why is things in quotes? Things. This is a very dark time in America. So dark. Interactive polls apparently show him at 53% in his own party. He used to be president, you know. Didn't he win by like 96% of the Republicans voted for him in the last election, and he's lost half that support? Wouldn't that worry you if you're running for president? I mean, it's one thing to be president and not everybody's going to like you because it's a tough job and whatever. But when you used to be president, you're running on the mythology of, hey, I was a great president and I will be again. Shouldn't you be, I don't know, in the 80s? Right? I mean, Joe Biden's in the 70s. He's 76 or something like that in the Democratic primary, even with, now granted, it's only gone up since RFK Jr.'s sort of flame out at the restaurant. But shouldn't Trump be with that in his own party? In Republican, by 50, you're at 50. Wait a minute. You're at 53% in the Republican Party, and you are the greatest leader of the greatest movement in the greatest political change, the greatest record of the greatest, of the best words of the best people ever in the history of ever, and you're at 53%. Really? He's at 89? Oh, right on. I guess not. So, and like in a two-way, he's plus 22. In this one, with everybody else, So in a two-way, he adds no one. He actually goes down. And DeSantis gathers most of the other people. Good Lord. Because remember last week at Talking Points USA, he was bragging about the fact that Ramaswamy came in second in a two-way. If Trump doesn't run, he's I don't know, whatever. Everybody's number two in this ridiculousness. Oh, dear. There's a video.
These guys play very well.
We had a good time, and he outdrove me all day long. But I forgive him.
What? Because he used to golf with Clinton? Why is that? I don't. He outdrove me all day long. Because he does nothing but golf. I got news for you. Golf for Trump should be like stand up for me. Like, you don't get to have a bad day. You've been doing it that long? I don't have bad shows. I just don't. And I shouldn't at this point. At a certain point, you should be able to deliver. Right? Kind of lazy, whatever. Anyways, dude golfed more than any president in history, owns golf courses, golfs nonstop, and he's like, I hit the ball really far. Yes, it's this big. We get it. It's an old man's sport. It's fine. Good for you. That's terrific. Why don't you tell us about how you just gnaw the shit out of a turkey leg or something? I ate a chicken leg like a beast. Okay, good for you. Yes, really. You were able to hold it, were you? Mm-hmm. You were able to hold it to your mouth. Mm-hmm. And you knew to turn it once you had bitten through most of what was there, so that you would get to another part of it. Yes, and you're capable of doing this with an apple. Excellent, great. That's cool. Why don't you put up a video of someone saying he can eat the ass out of an apple? Yeah, congrats. I don't even know why. All right. Just think of it. Between Mueller, deranged Jack Smith, and congressional committees, over $100 million has been spent investigating me since I came down the escalator in Trump Tower. Biden is a criminal, and almost no money, by comparison, has been spent investigating him. Get smart, Republicans. They're trying to steal the election from you. Well, I mean, honestly, you've been engaged in billion-dollar criminality, if you include what Jared was able to walk away from the presidency with. So I mean, $100 million on that kind of stuff, and of course they're not after. The Russians didn't want to support Trump; they just want chaos in the United States. They just thought he was a good chaos agent. So the $100 million wasn't spent on him. You know, to some degree, when Trump says they're after you, I'm only in the way. He's talking to Putin. He's talking to Russians. Because he's the go-between. Nobody gives a real shit about him. If it was somebody else, they'd be after that person, because it's the activity of the interference that's the problem. Oy, so lame. Yeah. So this is effectively the new. This might as well be X now. It's just that's it. Just Truth Social is X. X is Truth Social. Nobody gives a shit. Honest to God. Yeah, please clap. Yeah. That's exactly what all this golf shit is. I hit a thing and the thing. And oh, by the way, one of the other reasons why he more than likely posted that video of Bill Clinton saying he outdrove him every day was because that video is circulating of Trump slicing. Remember? Yeah, that came up where he just totally, and I never slice, and it just careens off into the woods. So that's why he posted that. He can't, his ego is so frigging delicate, he can't allow that video to stand without somebody like, I got video of Bill Clinton saying I drove better than he did. That's it. That's 100%. I bet he plays pickleball. He even slices to the right? Yes. And live and let live? Yeah. He totally shanked it. So we'll get there eventually. Let's see. We're good on time. Yeah. So I'm going to it's 1:15. I went over. But I'm going to drop off now, and I will see you guys at the regular showtime this afternoon. I have a little bit of cleanup work here to do, and then of course we've got some family stuff to take care of. So I'm going to bug out, and luckily this worked for the most part. Now I just got to add a couple of tweaks to the stream, make sure the audio is listenable. I've got to hook it up so that I can hear headphones, so that you guys can. By the way, Real quick question. Let me test this while you guys are here, just because audio wise, I'm not quite sure how much looping and messing around I actually have to do. So let's see. I'm going to play something for you and see if you guys can hear the audio well, or if it sounds roomy or crappy or what have you.
Organization have on the general public. And I think that's really important because what we have seen in the last couple of weeks is irrefutable evidence.
Can you guys hear
of
that?
the fact that
And is
the
it
FBI has
roomy boomy? Is there an echo? Is it crap? Okay, there's a bad echo on it. Oh, that's because, hold on one second.
only been systematically working to censor American speech,
Gotcha.
but they have been
How about
facilitating
here?
it, and in some cases at the behest of foreign governments. A weaponization report proved that there was a direct connection between the Ukrainian
Better.
SBU, in which that intelligence service was sending spreadsheets of
And that sounds
thousands
fine?
of posts.
Yeah. Does that volume wise mixing with my voice, is that okay? Sounds fine? Because that might be the best way for me to interact with this stuff in a way that doesn't that I can control a little bit better while I'm here. Okay, good. Excellent. Thank you guys for helping me sort that out. This is a test. This is only a test. Had this been a real broadcast, there would have been graphics. So, and on that note, I adore you guys. I will see you later this afternoon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And thanks for being patient with me while I am taking care of family stuff. That's all. All right, let me see if this thing works at the end. Wish me luck. I might have to add something. I'm going to tweak with this thing while it happens live. So I'll see you guys later on. Thank you.